I love Kong. Kong did that. Just, I got to show that off a
I was
little
going to
bit.
say that's a very impressive start to the show.
He whipped that. Kong whipped that. He's got another one too. You want to see this other one?
Let's
Here
do
it
it.
is. Here it is. Let's see. Is it this? I got it.
DeFi, decentralized finance. You got kids, you got a wife.
Oh, no. It's this one. Kong, we love you. All right, everybody, boys and girls, I got to give some love to this man right here. His name is Mikhail, okay? And anytime you go and watch a Twitter Spaces with George, this man is up there on stage. Okay, and that's he caught my attention. I'm like, ooh. Then you listen to the man speak, and it's like, ooh, this guy is a gem. This guy is a gem. We need to give this guy some love. He's got connections left, right, and center. He started yesterday. He's like, hey, yeah, I know, I know the president of Gala Games. I'll just hook you up with his right-hand man. Here he is. And then boom, starts the chat. We're talking with him. All right. This guy's a gem. He's super knowledgeable. He's going places. We need to subscribe to this man's YouTube channel and grow his YouTube channel. He puts out good quality content. I can't wait to hear more about what he does. And also, he's a part of the Cryptos R Us Plus show that everybody's doing. We're going to talk about his part in that and what he's doing. He's going to be interviewing big dogs out there. What are we going to be doing? Hitting up Richard Hart. You're going to be interviewing him? I don't know. We'll see. Guys like that, BitBoy.
Hey, let's talk.
Dude,
let's talk, man.
Dude, I love you. Love you, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate that warm intro. That was solid. The industry needs more people like you. Seriously, like your support for people that are trying to do great things in the space. It is not going unnoticed, man. Really appreciate all the work that you do.
Man, right back at you. And that's our vision. Kong and I, who's in the background. We all want to see his good looking face, don't we? People, come on, give us a shout out. Kong, we want to see that pure, good looking hunk of man flesh before us. All right. Now, dude, right back at you. I'm so excited to hear about what you do. And I have to give a shout out to Christian Peter. Christian Peter is blowing my mind. It's like, I'm so thankful for that man. He has helped us out. We're going to give you a sneak peek of the first video we're putting out, Kong, Christian, and I, for Cryptos R Us Plus. And it's going to be so good. And this man is going to be putting out a video for Cryptos R Us Plus soon as well. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about everything this man does. Here we go. Check this out, guys.
In today's video, we're pitting two of your favorite Web3 games against each other, Spider Tanks and Wag Me Defense, in a battle of gameplay, tokenomics, and who has the best NFT value, including adding hundreds of pages of each project white paper into ChatGPT and asking the tough question, which project has the best tokenomics and which one could potentially 100x. Buckle up for this episode of Cryptos R Us Plus.
Dude,
that is a solid intro.
Can you freaking believe that? I mean, I watched. How long
did you say it took the guy to put this together?
I don't know. It couldn't have been that long because we did the interview yesterday, and then I did 2 more streams. I did 3 streams yesterday, and then it's like I blink, and then Christian had already done that. he just worked on it for part of the day yesterday. He's just magical, man, that guy. So I'm so thankful for him. I told him, like, I don't know.
Talent.
It's like the amount of work. So what are you doing for Cryptos R Us Plus? And how's that coming? I know you said your plate's full. You're a busy man. How are you doing with that? You stressing out? How's that coming?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things on my plate. And first of all, CryptoGrady, thanks so much for having me on. This is a great opportunity. I love connecting with all the friends that George has. And, through George, you and I met, and everything you're doing with the Cryptos RS Plus channel, I think that's going to be really, really good. So my take and my perspective is going to be from an interview perspective, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people providing a lot of different information out there, and I want to bring on the most talented founders and entrepreneurs, and then I want to hit them with the hard questions.
Yeah.
I want to sugarcoat it because there's a lot of people out there that are sugarcoating a lot of stuff,
Right.
and we don't want to do that. We want it to be very educational. We want to address the questions that a lot of people have. My background is from the security side, so naturally I have a lot of questions. And one of the questions is around what's happening, what happened today actually with exactly protocol exploit, $12 million hack.
Wait, wait, come again? There's an exploit today that happened?
Yeah, so article came out this morning, CoinDesk. If you haven't checked it out, I recommend it. But there's a $12 million hack. There was a bridge called Exactly that has gone through an exploit, and it's on Optimism. And that's the thing about Optimism, Base, some of these newer L2s that are coming out, ZK Sync. Whenever you have a lot of hype and attention around these new chains, you see a lot of scams happening as well. So for those listening, definitely be careful, stay vigilant, because that stuff happens a lot in these earlier stage chains. And there's nothing wrong with the actual chain. It's just, it's attracting a lot of attention. And so you got to be mindful of who it is that you're interacting with, what smart contracts you're interacting with. When you're playing a game, if it's a GameFi, right? A lot of people need to understand they're interacting with smart contracts. It's open source. There's a lot of vulnerabilities that can pop up. So naturally, I have a lot of questions. And so I want to be able to bring those to light, not just from a security perspective, but in general. I talk to a lot of projects, talk to a lot of founders. And so just trying to sift through all the fluff that can be out there.
So you're a security guy. Do you know how to read the contracts and the code? Can you get in there and do all that?
I wish. So okay. I have a team that is a lot smarter than me that can go in and actually do the review.
Really?
Yeah. So my perspective is I'm more on the front end.
Okay.
And on the back end. So in other words, I'm out there and I'm talking to these projects. I'm connecting with people. I'm talking to different VCs and trying to understand what's the latest and greatest technology.
Okay.
Where does gaming fall into all of this, right? What are people focused on right now? So these are the things that I try to get answers to. And then through that, try to help people on the security side, just trying to help Web3 be a little bit more secure. And also just to try to help people connect, like people that are building good things, they need support. And so that's what I try to do.
So bad. So they so badly need it. I mean, all the amount of countless numbers of hours and blood, sweat, and tears that these devs out there are just putting in to different projects. And most of the time it's for a hope and a dream. They don't even know if it's going to ever come to anything. And then how do you actually bolster that and make it work and have people we need people out there in the sphere of crypto to be developing this stuff out for us. Otherwise, I mean, how can this go anywhere? And that's my biggest concern is probably hacking, is that can just kill crypto. And exploits and things. Just imagine when Luna went down, there was so many millions and billions of dollars of money and blood, sweat, and tears these devs had, and so many different ecosystems, and so much innovation happening within that ecosystem of really unbanking. That's truly banking the unbanked. Truly banking the unbanked. I mean, is what the vision was there. It's like the number one utility of all time of all crypto is that. And so many other things. And then I just saw all the projects in there die. All the money that, all the VC money, all that money of developing and all the ideas and vision just crashed and burned. And then shortly thereafter, Harmony Bridge Hack, the Harmony Bridge Hack wrecked us. We're DeFi Kingdoms guys in here, baby. And right here, DeFi Kingdoms, baby. Okay. And that most projects would have died. DeFi Kingdoms didn't, though. They stuck it out, but it just wrecked me. So I'm like, this is why I'm crypto's #1 shit show continuously through this bear market, developing more and more mental illnesses as we go, trying to make it through, baby.
You're doing a hell of a job, though. Seriously, the thing about when the market goes down, that's exactly when some of these bad actors come out to play. I mean, they're always there, but especially when market conditions are bad, that's like a nice recipe for them to jump in and start creating more havoc. But yeah,
man.
But I don't want to be pessimistic. This is this show is not about being pessimistic. It's just about being careful, right?
Yeah.
And people can be educated, right? You can have a good time, you can enjoy yourself, you can play these games or interact with these DeFi protocols, but you can do it in a smart way.
Right? Yeah. So how do you help these guys? How do you help the projects? You find potentially you find an exploit, a potential exploit or vulnerability in a project, and then you reach out to them, or?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'm going to approach this from a community perspective.
Okay.
So let's say you're interested in a protocol and you're just not sure. You heard that it's good, but you're not really sure if it's safe or not. First thing I would do is check to see if there's a code audit.
Mm-hmm.
And also see how much of the project has gone through an audit. So a really good resource is, so if you go to, say, certic.com, there's a leaderboard there. And on that leaderboard, you have a list of all the different projects that have gone through audits. And then when you go there, you can see very easily, this really depends on your level of expertise.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're more of a beginner, it's very digestible on how Certic really provides that information. You have a security score. It'll give you the percentage of how much of the project has actually been audited. And for those that are a little bit more technically savvy, you can actually click on a PDF and read the actual report. Now, the main thing to keep in mind when you're looking at these reports is that this isn't a stamp of approval. That's a very big misconception that a lot of people coming into the industry have. And so if we're going to bring on the next billion users, we have to make sure that they're educated on this stuff.
Right.
So it's not to say, hey, this auditing company is giving it the stamp of approval. It's just the report is there to tell you the state of the code, right? So there's a big difference there.
Okay.
And that's something that we need to make sure that we differentiate.
Okay. I get it. Okay. I love it. Nice. And so for George's channel, you're going to try and get some big high profile names on there and have it just even be kind of this fun, entertaining way of interviewing guys, asking them the hard, awkward questions.
Yeah. I'm thinking I need to poke around, do some research, poke around their Twitter, see what some of the FUD is out there, and let's just get to the bottom of it. Let's just address it, right? Let's just get on camera, let's talk about it and figure out, is this something that we really need to worry about? Or is this something that, you know, the founding team can just say, hey, yes, this FUD is out there, but here's how we are addressing it, or here's our response to it, and see if they pass, right? The whole purpose here is not to trip up anybody, but it's to provide that transparency, right? For the viewers, because that's what we need in this space.
I know it, man. Okay, that's great. Okay, I am trying to find your YouTube channel. How do you
dug down somewhere, right?
Yeah. So what? How do I spell your name again? I know I've.
Yeah. Let me. I'll send you in the chat.
Okay. All right.
This might help.
And then also tell me about this group that you've created. What is that called again?
Yeah. So I have, I do a lot of business development on the security side. And so I talk to, as I mentioned, I talk to a lot of projects. And through that, I get to meet a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
And the number one thing that I've learned in business development is give value. Right. Leading value. And so for me personally, whenever I meet two people and I'm like, you know what, like you two should connect and talk and see if there's anything that can happen from this. Cause I have a feeling there's some synergy here. And I would do that. And so then I thought, okay, why not put everybody in the same room together? So I created a Telegram community of builders, ecosystem heads, venture capitalists that are all pioneering this amazing industry. And originally, selfishly, I did it to help my day job, right? Working on the security side.
Okay.
But something interesting happened, Grady. It was, as I started building this out, I noticed people were collaborating, they were creating partnerships, and there were all these amazing things that were coming out of it. And I thought, okay, this is my responsibility to make sure that I look out for the best interests of this community and, to grow it, but also to make sure that everyone's actually connecting, right? There's a lot of communities out there focused on growing, but what good is growth if there's no engagement with each other? Yeah. And so through this community, I intentionally try to create opportunities for collaborations to happen. So that's basically how it started. I have a website now for it. Always looking for founders, entrepreneurs. You're part of it.
Yeah.
So appreciate the support there. So it's been a great
experience. What's the website?
Yeah, it's networkspotlight.io.
Network.
Yeah.
There it is, baby. Look at you. Dang. Okay, so tell me. So George was telling me, George is like, yeah, there's this guy, Mikhail. He just got me in this group and I immediately started connecting with all these guys. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. I know Mikhail, baby. I was talking with George and he said George was impressed. As soon as you got him in this group, he started making all these connections. You even got a website for it, man. Dang.
Yeah. Trying to show the legitimacy of it.
Yeah.
So, wow. It's been a lot of fun, and George is one example. There's a lot of people that are getting value out of it, but it's right now, especially because where we are in the market.
Yeah.
Whether it's Network Spotlight or whether it's something else that somebody else is building, being part of these communities is just so essential right now, man. People need to connect with others because mentally it can get draining for a lot of people in the space, right? You just touched on mental health. Like mental health is like first and foremost. Health is everything. And so when you surround yourself with other people that are going through the similar experiences, it unites you. And there's like this certain energy around that you cannot get anywhere else. And we're all in this digital world where I feel like I'm on an island, right? If I step outside my house and you talk to somebody about crypto, they're like, crypto, what? FTX? That's the extent of what they know.
Uh-huh.
And so you need to connect with others that are going through the same highs and lows.
Right.
So that's
Man.
kind of where this all started, and it gave me more meaning to my job, because I love working on the security side and it's very important, but I needed something else, right? I needed to feel a sense of belonging, and creating this community has been doing that for me. So
Yeah. Okay. Wow. And you're right. So especially if you're a builder of a project, all projects take a shit ton of FUD that come against them. And there's not, George has this way about him where it doesn't like move him at all whatsoever. Okay. He's in there, it's part of the entertainment even of his show is, all the dumbass comments that come in every day on his show, and people hating on him, fudding on him all the time. Does he even move an inch? Like mentally, it's just like he's just like, oh, what, blah, blah. He's stubborn as an ox, and he just like, but for most people out there, all right, if you're hearing all these haters coming at you all the time, right, it affects you mentally. And you've got so many, as the core, one of my core values, like I have, I guess, really, really strong core values. The main core value for me is the golden rule, and that's the key to success in life and business. Okay. And when you look out for the best interests of others over your own best interests, even at times, it comes back to you. And it's so amazing to me that people don't get that you build a reputation. Okay. Like, for example, with a car dealer, I had a car dealership that I started from scratch, years ago, and kicked ass with it. Maintained 100% positive feedback on eBay. For example, sold 250 cars on eBay, just off eBay, and 100% positive feedback. Not easy to do, okay, at the time, because they could leave me a negative and I couldn't really do anything at that point to retract that, And so to do that, you follow the golden rule, you look out for the best interests of others, and guess what happens? Then everybody wants to come buy a car from me. It's that simple. If you treat people right and you're not looking at the 5 minutes in front of your face trying to make a quick buck, that's not what it's about. You're trying to build a reputation. Okay, number 2 core value that I see is so important, it's so needed in this world we live in today, is not giving people the benefit of the doubt, okay, and not assuming the worst. And so there's so many people that give hip shot, thoughts as if they're fact. I hear it all the time. People, for example, with DeFi Kingdoms, we have people out there saying Frisky Fox rugged the project. These guys, this team, all kinds of stuff being said about the team out there. And that happened a little over a year ago. And there's like a huge exodus out of the ecosystem. This narrative started going out because YouTubers and people out there were accusing the team of it was a false accusation. And I see it all the time where people give their hip shot thoughts, their hip shot opinions. They don't know actually what they're talking about. They haven't done the research. They're just like, people think, ooh, I've got this magical gut feeling about this guy or this project. And they'll literally, like in their brain, psychologically somehow, it's like fact in their mind. And it's like, we got to stop doing that. It's like a character flaw when I see people doing that all the time. And so,
yeah, I think it's a psychological phenomenon that happens where people want to brace themselves for the worst.
Right.
They feel like it'll prepare them for the worst, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's partly that. And then secondly, I think part of it is attention. Because
that can sometimes it's intentional. People are doing that on purpose to stir shit up.
Right. Because you can get a lot of attention from people if it's something that is very dramatic, right? So
Right.
in this industry, I see that a lot. The things that make the headlines are the things that are the most feared.
100%. And especially, yeah, there's people out there with their low hanging fruit for this, right? Your Richard Hartz, for example. He's an easy, oh, this guy's just a big scammer. Well, he might be a complete crazy narcissistic douchebag, in your mind. Okay, but a scammer is a whole different thing, right? And it's easy to it's the same with BitBoy. It's like they put themselves out there and they're kind of out there and kind of crazy, right? But scammer, okay, maybe, but where's your data for that? Okay, why would you call him a scammer? I've been watching them, both those guys, for years. Sometimes it's hard. I get it, but it's like, wait a second, we got to separate those two things. You might not like the guy, okay, but then it's like, oh yeah, this guy, he's got to be a scammer because of, and man, and it's like,
yeah, if you put yourself, the more you put yourself out there, the more publicity you have. I mean, even sports, right? You look at some of the greatest athletes of the world. Does everybody love them? No, but does that change the fact that they're still the greatest? Yeah, I mean, they still are some of the best. And so that I think that just comes with the territory. But there's one specific instance I remember when on the news I was watching about the FTX collapse. Of course, for the media, this was amazing. Right? Everybody was getting a lot of attention from the FTX collapse, and they were reporting about it. And they had a reporter at a conference, at a crypto conference, and they were asking her, and they were on the edge of their seat. What are you seeing over there, Monica? Are people scared? And she reported, she was like, no, it's just business as usual. People are just focused on building tech. They're collaborating, they're networking.
Yeah.
But they must be scared out of their minds, right? She was like, no, they're not. They're continuing to focus. And that is the biggest difference between the media and what they portray,
right,
and what's actually happening in the industry. Working in the industry, being on the ground level, going to these conferences. If you really want to understand what's happening, you go to these conferences, and it is a different story.
I know the media, it's like evil so often. They know what they're doing. And I've done so many deep dives into how media functions. These news channels, news organizations, and it's like a narrative that they create out of nothing. I've seen it happen over and over and over and over again. The way they pose things. And it's like, then you realize, oh, who owns the media? Well, this XYZ owns the media. And so they're just trying to control the narrative so they can manipulate the markets. They can do, and it's just like a complete shit show. Goodness gracious, man. I'm getting myself worked up.
That's why we need people like you reporting the truth.
Yeah. And I think that's a big reason why George Channel has continued to succeed and grow and have so many viewing hours. People just over time have developed, even if they're indifferent about him personally, it's like, well, at least he's not going to sit there and bullshit us all day.
What I'll tell you, what really stood out to me about George Cryptos R Us. There's a lot of content creators out there that are solely focused on building out their channel, and they do a great job. One thing that really stood out to me about George was his ability to say, hey, I'm up here when it comes to my channel, but I'm willing to be a learner again and humble myself and tap into an area that I'm not as familiar with. And that's exactly what he did with the industry, because being a content creator in crypto and actually being, in the industry and connecting with folks, it's two different things. And a lot of times content creators have so much success in one area that they are afraid to step outside of that. And I've been to networking events with content creators,
Yeah.
and I've been to networking events with industry people, like people that actually work in the industry.
Mhm.
And networking is night and day. And with George, his mindset was different. It wasn't like a typical content creator. He is very willing to connect, to introduce. He's willing to use his personal brand for the good for other people. So not that this is a shilling Cryptos Are Us
Yeah.
episode, but yeah. So shout out to George from Cryptos Are
Yeah.
Us.
And you interviewed, so be sure, guys, follow this man's YouTube channel. I want to grow his channel. He's pretty new to YouTube, but this interview right here, he interviewed George when we were out there in Vegas, baby. This is a great short video, 6 minutes. You know, I love these videos you put together.
I appreciate it.
I mean, just think how bad it would have been if Curve would have gone under for all of DeFi. I mean, that would have been such a massive black swan event, I think, to the whole industry. We don't even realize the bullet we just dodged. What are
Yeah,
your
there's a few bullets.
Uh-huh.
Grady. There's definitely a few bullets. What's happening now? I don't know if you caught the news this morning, but there's a pretty. I think it's a large company, a Chinese company that's going under, and a lot of people are wondering if it's going to create a trickle down effect in terms of the overall macro economy. Because you have the tech world and what's happening in DeFi and security and crypto as a whole, but then there's other factors outside of crypto that are also impacting the market. And yeah, there's other bullets that we still need to dodge, but also some good things coming down the pike, right? There's talks about the spot ETF, maybe 4 to 6 months,
Right? It's BlackRock.
Yeah. I mean, they only lost, I want to say whenever they submitted requests, they've only lost one out of like 400 or something like that.
576 out of 575 out of 576 applications have been approved.
That is insane.
That is insane. So BlackRock, the largest asset custodian in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like how many trillions do they have under management? Is it like 30 trillion or 40 trillion or 100 trillion?
It's something insane. And
I want to say it's 30-ish trillion under management. It's like,
so what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you see them getting into the industry as a good thing for crypto or a bad thing?
I just think it's inevitable. So kind of what I realized, one of my takeaways after the Luna situation happened, and I just realized all we can really do is ride the coattails at this point of the powers that be, because they manipulate the market so bad with leverage trading. If the SEC really cared, they would deal with leverage trading. I just think that's just my opinion anyways. But it's like that's how they manipulate the markets and on multiple X's, 100X leverage type stuff, that the shorting and longing of the markets, and they manipulate the narrative, and they just manipulate the markets. And that's probably what this is going on right now, if you ask me. Maybe BlackRock's trying to buy up a whole bunch of Bitcoin. That there is a slight amount of risk that somebody like a BlackRock could, eventually, they could get 50% of all the Bitcoin, out there and control and overtake Bitcoin. What have you thought about that risk before?
Yes, I just don't know. Okay, let's think about gold. And I'm not educated enough to have an answer to this, but does anybody control more than 50% of gold?
No. I mean, I don't know. Do they? I know gold is this big time manipulated thing too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think There's two sides to that because it depends who you ask. Some people will say, well, the way Bitcoin was created, nobody can control it, really. Meanwhile, others are saying, well, if you have enough of it in custody, then you can control it. So,
and the mining,
I don't know the answer to that.
Like, if 50% of the mining, if there's 51%, like let's say BlackRock controlled 51% of all the mining, is that how you could potentially hijack it? I mean, it would only hurt yourself, though. It would only hurt your own bag. But that's a possibility. It's a pretty low risk, though. That's really the only risk that Bitcoin has. She says that's the only risk on the map for Bitcoin. It's not going to get hacked. It's the most secure. It's the best crypto coin we can have is in terms of security and stability and long-term outlook. Okay, it's not going anywhere, but if there is a risk, it's just that 51% of the potential for them to have the mining control, and then they can change Bitcoin essentially. But that's the only way that can really happen, right?
Yeah, I think every asset has its risks. There was a guy, I was at a conference, and there was a guy that his concern was quantum computing.
Well,
and, he said in 10 years, Bitcoin is not going to exist. And
really?
It was a little bit of an eyebrow raiser to me. I mean, I was curious to get his take. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time, but maybe that's something to dive deeper.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that Bitcoin is evolving. Right now, you have ordinals. And so if it continues to evolve, I'm not so sure that quantum computing is going to stop it.
Right. So if someone got their hands on a quantum computer, for one, Bitcoin's the last of, thing they're going to be going after. They'll be able to hack the banks, the financial system as we know it. And Bitcoin would be the hardest thing for out there, period, for a quantum computer to hack. So it still would be difficult, even for a quantum computer to hack Bitcoin. Wouldn't be difficult for a quantum computer to mess with the stock market, to mess with banks, steal money out of banks, no problem. That would be much easier for a quantum computer. And so, but you're right, that's a risk, but I don't know. That's just a risk for the world.
Yeah, there's remember when, and some of the audience, maybe they're too young for this, but remember the whole Y2K thing when it was going to be 2000 and everyone was concerned about the computers switching to like the number 2 and everything was just going to shut down, and people were seriously afraid of that. And turns out nothing happened. And then we had something similar in 2012 with the calendar. I believe you remember something about the calendar, how the Mayan calendar ends in 2012, something like that.
When does the Mayan calendar end?
It was like 2012 that it ended, and everyone was wondering, like, is this the end of the world, or
is Jesus coming back? Okay, is this world? Sometimes I wonder if the world is hopeless anyways. It's just like this world that we live in is insane.
Okay. Yeah, so there will always be things out there that, hey, watch out for this, watch out for that. We can't fully control all that. We can only control being in the present. I think sometimes we live too much into the future. I'm guilty of this more than anybody. We need to learn to be more present.
Yeah. Hey, the power of now, right? Eckhart Tolle. Okay. So 100%. Yeah. Now there's also a lot of fear out there about AI. I've heard it. I don't know if you've heard that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. AI will eventually just not need humans. That's a real, I guess, in some people's minds, a real threat, a real possibility, which is interesting.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't know what to think. I guess we've seen it in the movies, right? We got The Matrix. We got all kinds of movies about it. People have been talking about it for a while. I don't know what to think about all that. but I don't worry about it. Again, it's like kind of what you just said. The future, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, the thing about AI, it's impacting every industry
Yeah.
right now. That's what we do know. It's impacting even on the security side. There's certain things that you can do using ChatGPT. If you want to create a smart contract, a very basic smart contract, you can do that in ChatGPT and you can have it review it.
Can't you even have, you can have AI check for vulnerabilities and codes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now the more complex, the more complexity you have in what you're trying to build, obviously the less valuable something like Chat GPT becomes, right?
Right.
If you're trying to build cutting edge technology and you've got these unique functionalities, you're not going to have a lot of luck with AI or building it, let alone having it audited. And what are you going to say that ChatGPT audited our smart contracts, so therefore it's safe?
Well, in a year from now, that might be real valid.
Maybe. Yeah, I won't argue that. For
Mhm.
now, I think that there's just more data needs to be collected. But so when I was reviewing AI, I was thinking, okay, so it's impacting a lot of tech, but what about the arts? It's not really impacting them. And then now you have a lot of celebrities on strike because you could do so much with AI. You can have a B-list celebrity and use them to create an entire movie, essentially, right? You can create songs. There's just so many different ways that you can go about utilizing AI where a lot of these talents, on one hand, less valuable, but on another, because you're human, maybe they become even more valuable. I don't know.
Interesting, man. Okay. So why did Bitcoin crash yesterday? Did we get to the bottom of that? I know I've heard a lot of different things. There's rumors that Elon Musk sold off a bunch. What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know if that's, I don't know. I'm not so sure if that's true. I think it's a combination of CPI data that came out and
Okay.
also with what's happening in China. There's a the economy in China right now is in a little bit of a struggle. And whenever you have foreign countries that are struggling, they tend to rely on the dollar. And naturally, whenever the value of the dollar goes up, then these higher risk assets tend to go down. And right now, Bitcoin is viewed as tech. So
Yeah.
it usually trends with what tech does.
Right.
And so for that reason, that's my theory. I've heard that before as well. So, but I think when in doubt, zoom out.
Oh yeah. I was
Is
trying to get good buying opportunities. It was even down. When we started the stream, it was like at 25.6. It's already come up. The Mikhail effect is happening.
Sorry.
Sorry. I was wanting to get some good entries, get some more Bitcoin and Ethereum. What are some of the projects? What are some of your most bullish projects?
Yeah, and of course, I have to preface by saying not financial advice, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that's always the case. I'm just
guys, listen.
I'm just an investor like everybody else.
Believe it or not, we are two dudes sitting in their homes on your screen on YouTube. We are not your personal financial advisors, and for some unknown reason, we hear that 385,776,000 times per day on YouTube. And sometimes I'd rather deal with shards of glass in my eyes than having to hear that again. But apparently a litigation could be brought against us because you could possibly confuse two random guys on your YouTube screen right here, sitting in their home to be your personal financial advisor. So we must say, we are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice, AKA this means there could be some potential financial advice.
Yeah.
But it's not
Although
financial.
I need some advice on my beard. I feel like that zoomed in. I think I needed to do some trimming here. But
okay.
Well, going back to your question, so my perspective
Mm.
is going to be based on what I'm seeing in the industry, talking to people and getting a sense of where they are building.
Yeah.
So of course you've got, your Bitcoin, Ethereum,
Yep.
those guys are up there for a reason. So
Mhm.
that's an obvious one. And
Mhm.
then of course you have the second tier, like your Cardanos of the world, your Solanas, Polkadot. They're all interesting in a different way.
Mhm.
Cardano tends to move very slow and methodical,
Mhm.
but they go through their little spurts. They had a meme coin run not too long ago,
Yeah.
and like MinSwap exchange was
Right?
packed to the brim, like super busy.
Yes.
So everyone is having their little moment, right?
Mhm.
And with Solana, they're processing tons of transactions, which how many of those are fully valid? I don't know, but there's still a lot of development that's happening on
Even
Solana.
even in
It's-
Solana. Yeah. So how many
yeah.
transactions does Solana do per day?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I was checking. Let me see while we're talking.
Okay.
There's a few different sites that will pull up like on-chain data.
Okay.
And I was looking at that, and Solana was like by far more than anybody else. But
Okay.
they also have a lot of bots on there. So how many
Right.
of those transactions are actually human? I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to figure that out.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of hardcore, diehard Solana, not just investors or enthusiasts, but actually builders. So people are still
Mhm.
building. And to me, if you're still building on a chain, that is a sign of things to come.
Mhm.
Right? So it's not going to move the price right away. It's
Right.
like Bitcoin. People are buying up Bitcoin, but it's not going to move the needle right away. It's
Right.
something that over time, you will create that demand. And so whenever I look at some of these altcoins, I'm looking at, is their development happening? Like, are
Yes.
they active? So
Mhm.
to me, that's a good sign. So, going back to that list, so like Cardanos of the world, the Solanas of the world, I think that they're here to stay. Um,
Okay.
Also, a lot of the things that's happening on the layer two, like the layer two scaling solutions,
Yes.
there's a lot of attention there.
Right.
Uh, and when Base came out with a bang. And for those that are not familiar, Base is a layer two scaling solution created by Coinbase. Uh,
Mhm.
it essentially is optimism, in my
Yep.
understanding. Like it's like an identical copy.
Oh,
Um,
really? Identical?
I believe so.
Wow.
Or if like really close.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there's a lot of traction there. You look at the number of transactions, and there were at one point, maybe I don't know how they're doing now, but they had a successful launch with the Coca-Cola NFT collection. So you have Coca-Cola now coming into the game,
Interesting.
and they did like 450,000 in NFTs. So they're doing okay, considering market conditions. Arbitrum, I think ever since they had their launch, they've been doing pretty well. So these are some of the smaller players that are not at the top.
Mhm.
And it's again, my perspective on this is, where am I seeing the development? Right. Not
Yep.
necessarily, hey, this is what I'm buying, but this is where I'm seeing development activity. It's on these layer two scaling solutions. I talked to a lot of the venture capitalists. These are the areas that they're interested in. There's ZK technology, which we don't have to get into, but recommend researching that. Account abstraction. These are all different technology stacks within crypto that could potentially peak, during the bull market, or take us into the bull market and become even more prevalent. So there's the layer twos, and then there's the ecosystems that they're always up there, and the tech is amazing, but they're maybe not necessarily making all the media publicity, like what's happening within Cosmos. And if you believe in interoperability, that's an area that is somewhat interesting. Like I know from the security perspective, like our engineers are always curious to learn about these chains that are building within the Cosmos ecosystem. The tech is phenomenal. Their issue right now is there's just not enough liquidity there. Because they're different from like the Ethereums of the world and the L2s and all these EVM compatible chains. But
I've always been, before it even ever came out, was a huge Cosmos bull, always.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And then there's a new language that came out. So you have your Solidity, which is the smart contracts written on all these EVM chains. You have Rust, which is like Solana, Near, within the Cosmos ecosystem as well. And then you also have Move, which is a language similar to Rust, but has been getting a lot of attention from a lot of engineers. And so like Sui and Aptos. Aptos recently made headlines because now they're integrating AI. So there's a lot happening in the space. So we're seeing these headlines and all of this like regulatory concerns. But if you look at the actual technology and the kinds of people that are working on this stuff, you'll get a different perspective on crypto and blockchain technology as a whole.
Hey, fam out there that regularly watches this channel, here's a tip. Here's a bit of alpha. Pay attention to Aptos, baby. All right.
The technology is you got to look past the news and focus on the technology.
Okay. So what are some of the projects are you DCAing into some projects that you believe in? What are some of your ones that you're getting into? The
ones that I'm looking at are primarily the ones that are either the big guys on campus that are already tried and true, or the ones that are like the ones that I mentioned, where I feel like there's a lot of development activity happening. And so that's what I gravitate towards.
I love it.
The one area that I would love to see get more love, but right now it's just not the market for it, is gaming. Because gaming is just so fun. It's so fun. But man, it's right now gaming, there's a little bit of a challenge with the games, specifically in crypto. And I think that we're at a point where we're close to figuring this stuff out. The challenge is that we're onboarding these users, but then they're leaving the game. They're not sticking around. And because they're so used to crypto games being a way to make money, right? That's the focus. And I think we need to change the narrative. Make it more about like, hey, you're just playing like any other game, the way you would play Fortnite or Call of Duty.
Right.
When you play those games, you expect to spend money, right? You're buying new skins and you're playing for the experience of it. And if we can instill that mindset, and oh, by the way, there's a way for you to make money doing it. Hey, it's a lot easier said than done. And I think that there's a lot of great games, which I'm sure you could touch on, that are definitely like nailing those things. But I feel like it's so difficult for games to retain users.
It is. It's like, it is the ghost town of crypto, and so is DeFi. I mean, it's like ghost town these days in the bear. And how can we sustain that? And, we talk a lot about all this. It's good points, man.
What games are you looking at right now?
Okay. So my first and foremost is I look for teams with those strong core values, following that golden rule, not looking at the 5 minutes in front of their face, trying to make a quick buck, but have a strong vision, passion, and why that's driving them, and they're not money driven, they're vision driven, and they're trying to change the world or create an awesome protocol or fix this or whatever it is they're doing, or create a fun game, that people like to play and that have those strong core values. That's the first thing I look for. That's what drew me so deeply into DeFi Kingdoms. And so DeFi Kingdoms has so much potential upside monetarily, with the tokenomics being so strong with Jewel, even though it doesn't look like that on the charts at all. But it's deflationary. It's phenomenal. The tokenomics, even of their power tokens, are phenomenal, believe it or not. Okay. Even though that's bad right now, they're being burned at a 25% burn rate. And there's high utility and high demand for the earning token in their DeFi protocol, because it's a DeFi, it's a decentralized exchange first and foremost. Okay. And it's a full economy ecosystem that's so big brains. The team, the average IQ of the DeFi Kingdoms team is okay. And so, when it comes to all that, but just like you said, we've had 99.9% of everyone exiting out of the ecosystem for one, false FUD against the team, two, the Harmony bridge hack. Okay. And so, but the team just keeps grinding and doing their thing. They're getting partnerships going. They do weekly AMAs. They communicate, which is hard to find in the crypto space, even though most of these projects, they don't know how to get out of their own way when it comes to messaging and communication. Okay. And that's what drives me nuts from a business marketing perspective. Okay. It's like, golly, it's just like these projects all over the place in all of crypto, except Cardano, they don't know how to get out of their own way, I would say. And so that's what I love to do, is help promote the good ones. Okay. And even though they're a bunch of big brain, high IQ, geek out nerds that don't understand messaging and communication and marketing for the life of them. Okay. And so another one, Dragon's Crossing, that was on FOMO or Pass, George, I love it's a fully, the game is fully live. It's not in beta. It's phenomenal, big brains game. And then looking at all kinds of other games as well, all these gala games. We looked at Spider Tanks yesterday. It looks phenomenal, like wowzers. WAGMI Games looks like it's got a bunch of potential. Like all the Galaverse, Gala just seems really bullish. All these games coming out and more demand for the Gala token too is interesting, I think, coming. And golly, what else? There's so many. But so many of these games I've realized, turn out being VC rug pulls a little bit, like where the VCs have 30, 40, 50% of the token, and they're just dumping hard on the community. And so it's like bad. It's not a good model when the team needs the token, trying to create demand for the token, but need that token to raise finances. So that's like a hard pinch that, teams need money to develop. They got to pay the devs, but it's hard in a bear market to get money for your project because everything's dead. And so the team's trying to rely on the token, and then dumping the token to get finances for their team. That's a little bit of a crypto dilemma we could talk about maybe, but
yeah, I do agree with you. It is a struggle for a lot of projects in crypto. Is this whole dilemma around, getting funding? There's a lot of challenges around that because unless, the only other way to do it, or I should say one of the other ways, is if you have just a phenomenal dev team and you can create some type of SDK and you can kind of approach it from a B2B side. And so you're building out your game, but you also have a service where you're selling your software development kit to other devs. That could, if you can get like a secondary stream of income, that's a way to avoid, having to go out and raise.
That's why I'm so bullish on the weight token, man. There's zero, utility of the weight, zero utility in terms of the utility of the weight token. Let me rephrase that, is not to raise funds for anything Hourglass for the next Crypto Gym TV show at all. But the utility of the token itself is going to explode demand. It's the exclusive token for when Alpha District comes out. That game I'm super pumped about. When that game comes out, the Wait token is the exclusive token for that ecosystem. For all the projects that in their incubator come through Cosmos, the Cosmos with a K, different Cosmos, these other projects coming, the Wait token will be the exclusive token. It'll also be, there'll be demand for the token for the TV show as well. And so things like that is what I love to find, look for. And I'm just a huge believer in Jet. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he was at the networking event too with at the VIP party in Vegas. I don't know if he was out there, but I know he was in Miami. He was out there. So it's interesting to see. I'm excited about the show first and foremost. Like that show is getting ready to air the next Crypto Gym, I think September, early September.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that show because it's going to shed a lot of light into a lot of these projects and what people go through. You know, this kind of stuff doesn't really make the media unless it's some kind of a exploit. And so we'll see what people are actually working on and building, and it'll be, you know, streamed on like all over the world. So this is really exciting for the industry.
Yeah, man. Hey, Squid Grow is going to be advertising for the next Crypto Gym. Okay. And I know Brian D. Evans, shout out to Squid Grow. I was talking to them about bringing them on the channel, possibly, you know, see what they're doing. And I was in their spaces last night for a bit. And so that's cool. Good to see you, Jake. Let's get you guys, let's connect. I'm still waking up. Okay. Yes. I was up all night with my brain was just on. I get these modes where I'm not sleeping and I'll manic out into visionary type things, exploring possibilities of the world. Okay. And
That's what I do.
I mean, this video that Christian Peter did, you know, because we're putting out this video, is just like, I watched it on repeat for hours and my wheels were just spinning. I can't even explain it. It's so good.
You want to play it again?
Yeah, we'll play it again here for you guys if you missed it. I'm so excited. I'm also going to be, you know, this happened out of nowhere for me. It was all because of Kong. I'm going to be on Around the Blockchain, baby, next month. So I'm
nice.
DZ reached out to me. You know, my Twitter's blowing up yesterday. I'm like, what's going on? You know, why are all these people giving me all this love? Well, Kong was in a Discord saying, hey guys, give Grady some love. You know, Around the Blockchain posted, hey, is there who do you think is a influencer that should be on Around the Blockchain? They tweeted that out, and then I got a whole bunch of love from that. And so DZ, boom, reaches out to me, hey, you interested in coming on Around the Blockchain? And so I was like, heck yeah. So and I think the day after the next Crypto Gym airs, you know, I'll be on the Around the Blockchain show, and DZ is an advisor for Hourglass too. And so,
oh, I didn't know that.
I'll be
the Web3 community is so powerful. Like the networking, it's amazing the things that you could do because we're all connected through Twitter, through Telegram, all these different ways for us to connect. But definitely keep me posted on Around the Blockchain. I want to see you represent.
Yeah, baby. I can't wait. So fun. Any final words before we wrap up? And then we'll wrap up with KP's intro teaser video that we're doing for Cryptos RS, baby.
Yeah, just one last time, you know, appreciate you having me on CryptoGrady. This was a lot of fun talking about everything from the exploit that happened earlier today to the different crypto trends and you know, talking about life in general and just human nature, right? It's stay vigilant. That's obviously the first and foremost goal here. Stay positive. You know, right now we're going through an unsettling time. Don't always track what's happening from a price perspective. focus on technology, see what's happening on that side. And that'll definitely give you a lot of optimism moving forward. So appreciate you for having me on.
Yeah, man. Hey, can you give us a teaser on who your first interview is going to be for that, or no?
You have to tune in to find out.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to keep you on the edge of your seat.
Oh, baby. Okay, guys. Love you. Here's Christian Peter. Here it is, baby. He is a godsend in our lives. Here is the intro to our first video for Cryptos R Us Plus.
In today's video, we're pitting two of your favorite Web3 games against each other, Spider Tanks and Wag Me Defense, in a battle of gameplay, tokenomics, and who has the best NFT value, including adding hundreds of pages of each project's white paper into ChatGPT and asking the tough question, which project has the best tokenomics and which one could potentially 100x. Buckle up for this episode of Cryptos R Us Plus.